After the break in London, the latest from Whitehall after a car crashed into the gates of Downing Street. Tonight, the child with cancer who can't leave hospital because her home is so mouldy. Great Ormond Street say this flat is unsafe for Amara to return to after her latest round of chemotherapy.
What would it mean to you to finally be able to bring Amara home?
It would mean the world to me.
Also on the programme, we are live in Whitehall after a car crashes into the gates of Downing Street. Facing investigation, the man who led the Met's mishandled inquiry into a VIP paedophile ring, plus not forgotten. After dying alone, hundreds turn out to say farewell to an RAF war hero, including long-lost family. And Harry Kane says these are the days he's most proud of as he collects the freedom of the City of London.
I love London, it's been great to me, it's my home, and I'm extremely grateful to receive this award.
Good evening. Sheepa Kamali would like to take her sick daughter home from hospital after her latest round of chemotherapy, and Great Ormond Street need Amara's bed to be freed up for another child with cancer. The obstacle, Amara's home is so mouldy it's not safe for her to return. The family have been trying to get out of their one-bedroom council flat in Bethnal Green for years because of overcrowding and recurring black mould. Tower Hamlets Council say they only have temporary solutions to offer. Helen Keenan has our top story.
So this is the bedroom?
Yes, our bedroom where me and my children sleep.
All four of you sleep in
All
here?
All four of us, yes.
And this room, well, you can see it's covered in mould, isn't it?
It's covered. Not just this time, year after year, it just keeps on getting worse.
Her baby can't be discharged from hospital to here because of the health risk from the mould. Amara was born with leukemia. She's never been able to go home. Despite now being well enough to finally leave, the doctors can't let her. The mould is too dangerous.
I go every day to the hospital and I see her. But if the council had helped me, because I've been fighting with them for 3 months, if they had helped me and given me a property sooner, Amara could have come home.
It's already too cramped. She's having to bring up her 3 other children in this one-bed flat. Sheepa's MP has raised the issue with the council, along with a social worker on behalf of Great Ormond Street Hospital, saying, after this cycle of chemotherapy, she will be ready to be discharged. Unfortunately, if the family do not have a safe home by this point, Amara cannot be discharged. This is a pressing situation for not only Amara and her siblings, but other children with cancer who require a bed space at Great Ormond Street Hospital for chemo.
Mould is not great for anybody, but obviously if you don't have leukemia and your immune system is strong, then you have the immune system to protect you from something like that. If you've got leukemia, you have very little of an immune system left to fight things like that. It could lead to a life-threatening infection.
Tower Hamlets Council say they've made 3 offers of temporary accommodation in a 3-bed home so they can tackle the mould, and all these offers were refused. This month, the family were granted emergency priority for a permanent move on medical grounds. Sheepa says she needs a 4-bedroom home. Amara has to have her own room because even a small infection could be life-threatening.
What would it mean to you to finally be able to bring Amara home?
It would mean the world to me. I'm grateful for the nurses at Great Ormond Street. They're like mothers to her. They look after her every night. But it still doesn't make it any easier that I couldn't do the things that I needed to do as a mother.
Sheepa ending Helen's report there. Now, there was a major security scare in Westminster this afternoon after a car ploughed into the gates of Downing Street. Amy Lewis is on Whitehall for us now. Amy, what do we know about this?
Well, it happened, Duncan, just after 4 o'clock this afternoon. A car was seen crossing over Whitehall and then crashing in to those very famous gates behind me. In fact, the car is still parked there now, a silver Kia. Now, footage of the immediate aftermath showed, as you would expect, there was a huge police presence here, and there is actually still now a huge number of police vehicles here. One man, we were told, was arrested on suspicion of dangerous driving and criminal damage. Now, the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, was here at the time, but we've been told he has now left for a scheduled visit. There hasn't, we've been told, been any reports of any injuries, but this is an incredibly busy time of day. Whitehall would have been the type of day where not just would there be a number of tourists, but also as well a lot of civil servants leaving for the day. Now, one witness said, Simon Parry, I heard a bang, I looked up, I saw lots of police with taser guns shouting at the man. A lot of police vehicles came very quickly and were quick to evacuate the area. Well, now Whitehall has reopened just a few minutes ago to cars and to pedestrians walking up and down it. It wasn't so long ago, you'll remember, that you could actually walk on Downing Street, but I think now is one of those days when they will be very grateful that they have increased their security and put those gates outside what is arguably the most famous street in the country.
Yes, Amy on Whitehall, thank you very much. A man has been stabbed to death in Croydon. Police say the 22-year-old was involved in an altercation on Mayo Road on Tuesday night. He sought help at the nearby Pawson's Arms, but later died in hospital. Police have started a murder investigation and there have been calls for the local community to come together.
But we've got family members that have been here with us moments ago. They're absolutely broken, devastated. One was just speaking about the cry of the mother. It's not the first time that we've heard wailing and weeping from a mother who's lost a child on our streets. And for us, we've got to all pull together with families, with services, with agencies to do whatever we can to take knives off these streets.
10 new cases of Mpox have been discovered in the capital in the last month. The UK's Health Security Agency say this should be a reminder that the disease has not gone away and that it is crucial vulnerable people are vaccinated. 5 of the new cases were diagnosed in unvaccinated individuals and 2 had just 1 dose. And 900 workers at tourist attractions across the capital have walked out today in a dispute over pay. Members of the GMB union have been on picket lines outside the Barbican, the Guildhall School of Music and Drama and Tower Bridge. They say they want a new pay deal, but the Corporation of the City of London say that would lead to cuts and redundancies. Next, it was an 18-month inquiry into claims of a VIP paedophile ring, but the claims were based on the evidence of a fantasist. Operation Midland cost the Met Police more than £2 million, led to no arrests and caused widespread criticism. 8 years on, the officer who led that inquiry is now facing a gross misconduct hearing. Carolyn Sim is outside New Scotland Yard for us now. Carolyn, what is Steve Rodhouse being accused of?
Well, serious failings. Steve Rodhouse is accused of breaching professional standards and lying during his handling of Operation Midland. Now, Operation Midland, you'll remember, was launched in 2014 after a group of MPs and other high-profile figures were falsely accused of child abuse by a man called Carl Beach. Now, he was jailed for 18 years in 2019 for perverting the course of justice. The Met spent 18 months investigating his claims. But 2 other people who'd also falsely claimed they were victims of child abuse were never charged or properly investigated. And Steve Rodhouse is now the first officer to be held to account for those errors. The former MP for Billericay, Harvey Proctor, was one of those who was falsely accused. He welcomed the hearing, but he says the scandal has had a devastating impact on the whole of his life.
As a result of Operation Midland, I lost my job. I lost my home, which was linked to my job. I lost my repute. And because I received death threats, it was safer to go and live abroad for a year, which I did.
Well, none of this does much to improve trust and confidence in the Met. We asked the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, about this morning, and he says officers of all ranks need to learn a new culture.
So we started that process. We're training new recruits to the police service, making sure it's more difficult to become a police officer, improving venting. At the same time, we've got to train those who are already police officers, right? Those who may have joined 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, because there's no point having great new recruits if the culture's still not changed. This isn't about a few rotten apples.
Well, the Met Police told us today they're taking these allegations seriously and they will cooperate fully with the police watchdog about this future hearing.
Carolyn, thank you. Still to come on the programme, hundreds of people gather in Westminster to pay tribute to the World War II hero who died alone. And I'll be chatting to Georgia about her new album and a summer of festivals ahead. A 5-foot-long boa constrictor has been found slithering through a park in Surbiton. The exotic snake, usually found in the Amazon rainforest, is thought to be an escaped or abandoned pet. You can see him there, wrapped up there by the RSPCA. She has been named Lulu, and say she would not have survived if a member of the public hadn't found her. She's now in the specialist care of the RSPCA's vets. The ITV News continues with the national and international headlines at 6:30. Here's a look ahead now with Charlie.
Lower than expected, but still a record high. Net migration reaches more than 600,000, far surpassing immigration targets promised by the government. A damning admission on the state of Police Scotland. Its chief constable says it's institutionally racist and discriminatory. Why a long-awaited fall in energy bills could still leave many struggling, and tributes from around the world to the Queen of Rock and Roll, Tina Turner. So join us for those stories and more from 6:30.
Now, Harry Kane has been awarded the Freedom of the City of London. It's recognition of a lifetime of achievement, and it's normally only given to people like royalty, heads of state, and figures of global standing like Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu. Anila Dami was at the ceremony this afternoon. Anila, quite the honour for him.
Yes, and he was celebrating with his family and friends today. Just to explain a bit about what the Freedom of the City of London is. So in the medieval era, the freedom was the right to earn money and own land. And from the Middle Ages to the Victorian era, the freedom was the right to trade. Today, it's for anyone living and working in the city or who have a strong connection. And Harry Kane joins that historical line of names you said, that history. It was an elaborate ceremony, and I sat down with him to ask him how he felt about the achievement.
It's great. We learn a bit about the history and the names who have gone before us, and about London. So memories that I'll remember, and my kids will remember, and everyone here. When I'm older, of course, I'm a footballer, and I enjoy playing on the pitch and having memories there. But these are the unique situations that I'm extremely proud of.
You're really putting London on the map, aren't you?
I love London. It's been great to me. It's my home, and I'm extremely grateful to receive this award.
He was so proud, and I had to ask him about how he felt about Spurs and next season.
Yeah, I'm just focused on this season. We've still got one more game that I'm extremely determined to finish with a win, because it's been a disappointing campaign for us, but that's where my focus is.
Well, he certainly ended today on a high with this accolade. Yeah,
what an honour. Thank you, Anila. Next tonight, when 96-year-old RAF Flight Sergeant Peter Brown died alone in Maida Vale with no known relatives, an appeal went out for people to attend his funeral. So many answered that call that it had to be postponed to find a larger venue, and today hundreds gathered in Westminster to honour his life, including top brass from the RAF and even long-lost relatives. Anton Allen reports on the people's tribute to a World War II hero.
Flight Sergeant Peter Brown survived World War II, only to die alone in Maida Vale. But that was not the end of his story. Hundreds came from near and far to pay their respects to this 96-year-old veteran, pilot of the Caribbean. Flight Sergeant Brown's family believed he was one of the 57,000 or more Royal Air Force crew that were killed in World War II. A newspaper article about his death, followed by a genealogy check, led them to reconnect with a cousin they thought they'd already lost.
Because they never gotten in touch with, relatives back home. But I'm glad that he has a good funeral.
As a teenager, Sergeant Brown travelled from his home in Jamaica to Britain. He joined the RAF in 1943 and flew on the Lancaster bombers. Despite his heroic and risky war effort, he remained a modest and solitary man.
I mean, the whole of the armed forces were fighting, and it's gallantry, but to fly into enemy territory and to be shot at and all those sort of things, as a young man from the Caribbean, that's just fantastic.
I absolutely had to be here to represent our community, to pay respect to this dignified old gentleman who passed away in such sad circumstances.
The pews at Flight Sergeant Brown's funeral would have been empty if it wasn't for an online campaign by Westminster Council and the RAF to find family and friends.
As comrades, that's why I'm here today. Once a soldier, always a soldier.
The news of Sergeant Brown's story gathered mourners from across the country to come to the central church of the RAF.
To show the honour and respect to those who've served and to whom we owe a great debt. And I think a lot of people feel very moved by it.
Flight Sergeant Peter Brown's name could have been added to history without anybody remembering his service, despite a life that for a portion was dedicated to protecting so many others. But due to the online campaign, hundreds of people turned up today to make sure that his name was honoured, his service was honoured, and his life was celebrated. Flight Sergeant Brown died alone, but in death he was embraced by his armed forces brothers and sisters, all hoping his legacy will ensure no other veteran passes away without their service recognised by society. Anton Allen, ITV News.
Now to a singer back with her third album, eagerly awaited after her breakout record in 2020. She goes by one name, she's Georgia, and Georgia joins me now. I love it when an artist just has the confidence to say, don't need a surname, actually, I'm going to be that big.
Well, thank you. Yeah, well, it's a good name. It's an all right name,
it's a good name. It stands
Georgia.
out. That's London confidence, that is, right? Tell us about the third album, Euphoric, yeah?
Yes. I'm just so excited for people to hear it. It's a bit of a new direction for me. It's a very kind of optimistic record, which was half written during the pandemic and then finished off, when we'd just come out of lockdown. So, I just wanted to create a positive record for people to hear and just feel inspired and, that sort of thing.
And part of it is about how to be in the now, is that right?
Yes, I think so, definitely. I think we can get, a bit lost in social media and lost on, I guess I just wanted to feel like there's more to the world than just this insular sort of little thing, and it was a real adventure making this record.
And the adventure took you to LA, right? Didn't you?
Yeah.
Whereas the first two albums, actually, you did pretty close to your home.
Yeah, the first two records were done in my studio in London, and I sort of demoed the songs for this new record in London, but then wanted to go off on a bit of an adventure and, finished it off in Los Angeles, which is lovely. Not as good as London, but
no,
you
obviously.
know. But
of course, you're a London
much.
girl because you used to play youth football here, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I still play occasionally, actually.
I'm surprised the record label allowed that, though. Do the insurers know?
Well, now I'm being pinched by the Lionesses. No. But yeah, I did. I grew up very much in central London. We didn't really have a garden, so we used local parks, and I just get stuck in with all the lads playing football, and it just kind of went on from there. And then I got scouted for Queen's Park Rangers.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and it was just a whole part of my teenage years, really, was football.
I love multi-talented. The album is euphoric. It's out on the 28th of July, and you're doing a festival this summer. Georgia, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right, let's have a look at the weather forecast now. Here's Sally.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles. Car, charger and energy.
Hello again. I hope you had a lovely day. Would you like to see a sight for sore eyes? Oh, what a love, isn't it? Just gorgeous. Now, the weather is rather lovely too. We're staying settled and dry. Not too much change for you. Some nice sunny spells, a bit of cloud here or there. And it is a little bit cooler on our breezy coastline. But when you get that sunshine, really feeling pretty pleasant. Let's take a look at this evening. So that cloud tends to melt away in many areas, but we will hold on to a little bit here or there. But with the clear skies for the most part, the temperatures will drop away, particularly in the countryside. We could get down to the low single figures once again, but a bit milder in the towns and cities, and a few spots could hold on to double figures. And tomorrow gets off to another cracking start with lots of lovely sunshine around. There will be a bit of cloud bubbling up here or there. The main slight difference tomorrow is that it's just a little bit breezier. You'll notice that slightly more on the coast, but inland we're still getting up to highs of about 15 to 20 degrees. And as I said, it does feel pleasant in the sunshine. So a bit of cloud around here or there, but that tends to melt away into the evening, and our bank holiday gets off to a lovely start with that evening sunshine and sunset at 9 o'clock. Plenty more sunshine on Saturday, perhaps a bit more cloud building through Sunday and Monday, and the temperatures just coming down a touch on Monday as well. Here's the pollen.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV Pollen Count.
Well, grass pollen levels are just starting to creep up a bit more now. We're getting to moderate for a lot of the weekend with the fine weather around. Maybe helps a little bit when there's a bit of a breeze. That's it for now.
Finally, it's time to take another look at the 5 projects competing for your vote as part of the People's Projects. 3 projects will each win up to £70,000 of National Lottery funding. The People's Projects is a partnership between ITV and the National Lottery Community Fund. In a moment, we'll tell you how to vote, but first, here's Sally with details of who you can vote for.
Last week, you saw 5 fantastic projects, all trying to improve their communities. Next week, 3 of them will each be presented with a cheque of up to £70,000 to help them on their way. To win, they need your vote. So here's a quick reminder of the competing projects. First, we have Sport for Futures, a community group set up to tackle inequality in grassroots football. The team there provide free pitches and coaching to young people in South East London, where renting pitches can cost up to £120 per hour.
I'm no different to one of these kids. I grew up in a similar area, South London, and I noticed that was a huge barrier to me becoming a footballer.
Next, we visited the Halo Play Cafe, set up by Alia Jones, who lost her partner suddenly. She wanted to help provide support for young children dealing with bereavement. At the cafe, children and parents can come together to play and get counselling to cope with their grief.
Just being here, everyone's had a similar experience of loss, of devastating loss, a loss that you can't explain.
Now to Kaz, who was diagnosed with cancer and during her treatment handed out pamper pouches to others going through treatment. She has set up Wigs for Heroes, where people going through chemotherapy can come together to make wigs and share their experiences.
I got so much from just that random act of kindness.
It helped me get through my cancer experience.
Then we went out with the First Down Farmers, a group tackling loneliness in the elderly through gardening and Tai Chi. This group provides outings and a sense of friendship. For many of their members who had moved to London with no friends or family, it's been a lifeline.
And one of the most important things is to see a smile on a person's face and give them hope that there's always a friend around the corner.
And last but not least was Songs and Smiles, where London's youngest and oldest residents meet and play to boost spirits. Parents say it allows their children to interact with people they might not otherwise meet. They bring their children to care homes to benefit from the years of experience of their elders, while the babies love playing with their new friends.
Giving my children the experience of kind of meeting other people that they wouldn't meet day to day, and just coming into a home, and the homes, they're like the huge families.
Here's all the details on how you can vote.
Yes, the 3 projects with the most votes will receive a grant of up to £70,000 and the runners-up will be awarded up to £10,000. To vote, go to itv.com/The People's Projects. Voting closes at 12 noon on Friday, the 26th of May. You can only vote once per region and you'll need an email address or mobile phone number to vote. Terms and conditions and privacy notice can be found on the website. And that is all we have time for. Charlene is here next with the ITV Evening News. But for now, from me and all of us on the London team, thank you for watching and have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.